You likely know the exhaustion of being the perpetual peacekeeper. You do the favors, you listen to the repetitive complaints, and you suppress your own needs to keep the group happy. And in return, you often feel drained and overlooked. This mindset is captured by the term bolopon. It describes a form of naivety, the belief that if you offer limitless kindness, the world is obligated to treat you with the same level of care. This diagram shows a structural mismatch. We assume that an input of endless kindness leads to a predictable output of respect. But without the friction of boundaries, that same input often routes directly toward exploitation. When kindness is offered without limits, it can stop being a virtue and start functioning as a vulnerability, a pattern that becomes visible when we look at how communities treat their most accommodating members. There is a parable of a village boy who helped everyone, even those who mocked him. When a chaotic dispute broke out between two families, the boy stepped in to mediate and bring peace. Instead of thanking him, both sides immediately blamed him for escalating the conflict. The boy's experience reveals a difficult truth. Social structures often value utility over inherent goodness. When you are useful, you are accepted. But when a situation turns volatile, a history of kindness provides very little protection against being made a scapegoat. This exposes a pervasive lie, the idea that unconditional goodness acts as a shield. In reality, stripping away your own defenses to please others leaves you vulnerable to those looking for the path of least resistance. To protect your self-respect, you have to find a breaking point. It requires recognizing the precise line where blind tolerance ends and foolishness begins. Chanakya Niti provides a framework for strategic self-respect, a method for protecting your goodness by establishing clear limits. This tri-pillar model represents the first line of defense, the 3 no's. To protect your core self-respect, you must maintain 3 specific barriers. Say no to wrong deeds, no to time wasters, and no to those who mock your kindness. As we see here, when these barriers are bypassed, the core collapses. Forgiving repeated disrespect is a process that slowly destroys your internal value. Using the word no is the foundation of your mental freedom. Beyond verbal boundaries, there is the issue of emotional availability. If you are always there to fix every problem, people naturally begin to overlook your worth. Psychologically, when a person is always available to carry the load, they shift from being a necessity to being a habit. This graph illustrates the principle of strategic absence. As your constant availability decreases, the perceived value of your presence and the respect you receive typically spike. Choosing to remove yourself from a disrespectful environment often carries more weight than staying and asking for validation. There is an ingrained cultural stigma around prioritizing your own needs. However, wise selfishness is often a necessary act of self-preservation. Take the example of an endlessly accommodating parent who sacrifices every hobby and every hour of rest for their family until they eventually reach a complete emotional breaking point. Consider the neighbor who carried everyone's burdens to avoid conflict, only to suffer a brain hemorrhage from the internal pressure of unmanaged stress. Sacrificing your physical and mental health to guarantee the comfort of others is a form of slow psychological suicide. Securing your own well-being is the prerequisite for surviving and maintaining the capacity to help others in the long run. This new state means your goodness is protected by armor. You still offer help, but you prioritize those who demonstrate a genuine need and respect for your time. A behavioral weapon in this state is strategic silence. It means ending the habit of over-explaining your boundaries to people who only intend to use you. When you stop trying to prove your intentions to those who act in bad faith, you strip them of their leverage over your emotions. Freedom begins when you stop fearing the loss of approval. When you no longer worry about being seen as difficult, your energy returns. You can then take that energy and invest it into building your own competence, your health, and your future. True power comes from building your self-respect so high and so quietly that your value becomes undeniable.